Hey guys, welcome to this episode of Learn This Deck for the awesome Dreaming Way Tarot. And today's card is Major Arcana number 5, the Hierophant. And so let's look at the card image and the card contents and let's figure out the card story. First off, in the environment, what I see here are these trees. These are tall trees. It's a group of trees, or maybe he's sitting right in the middle of a forest, but there's definitely a group of trees, tall trees, and they have green leaves on them. So it's like they're not dried out trees, they're fresh green trees. And on one of those trees we see two keys which are tied up, right? Those two keys, now that key thing, those two keys is a very common sort of feature. This appears in pretty much, I would say, most of the Hierophant cards of many of the decks, most notably the Rider Waite or Universal Waite. So the keys are there, that's there. And then of course, beyond that is we have, I don't know, clear skies and maybe a hint of a forest type of environment. All right. Then of course the person, and we see here an old man, right? He's got that beard thing going, old man beard, and his eyes are closed, and he's wearing that very typical hat, or the cap. It's something I believe that only a pope can wear. And then uh, he's covered up from head to toe, really, that way. Now that hat, that whole pope thing, that sort of got me searching in the dictionary for the meaning of the word hierophant. And what I got, I wrote that down. Hierophant is someone who interprets sacred mysteries or esoteric principles. And I believe the dictionary said that the word hierophant is made up of two words that were originally Greek and then Latin, or originally Latin and then Greek, whatever. But the words were hieros, which means sacred, and phainen, or I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right, phainen, which means show or reveal. So in short, he is a person who is going to interpret and reveal the mysteries to everybody else, right? So in this situation, that's what that whole, it sort of connects with that situation, or that sort of his role in the world and society there. So what are the symbols? Clearly, the forest with the green leaves indicates something, like lush greenery. There's a wealth of knowledge. The keys, the two keys, have always been the symbol of inner and outer wisdom. All right. So what I feel genuinely that the Hierophant card is all about, especially with the keys over there and that whole religious sort of coloring to it, is that through the sort of rules or tenets that have been specified by religion. Now, it could be any religion, all right? Every religion has its own rules and ways of doing things. And it is through these rules, like through these outer rituals, you are supposed to delve deeper and go to the inner world. So that's why we have two keys. One is for the outer world, which will teach you the different rituals, and 90% of the people I feel get sort of caught up in just that. But then you have to go and look at for the other key, which is for the inner world, and it is through these rituals that you are guided closer to your inner world, to the inner understanding of what they are trying to really convey about, the spiritual angle of it rather than the whole religion angle of it. That's what I think the keys are all about. So personally, I feel that the keys have more importance than the anything else that's there in the Hierophant card. But that's my point of view anyhow. So then of course we go to the LWB, and in the LWB the author clearly states that this card talks about religious leaders, and it's not necessarily confined to just a single religion. It can be any and every religion that you're looking at. He also says that this card talks of or depicts older individuals who have wisdom that they want to share with younger people. So it can be any older person who is ready to share his wisdom with the younger generation. Then he guides initiates into groups, organizations, institutions, and structured belief systems. So that's those are the words from the LWB that kind of stood out for me. Now, what are the keywords that I came up with, right? Upright, he is a teacher. He is part of a very formal sort of learning environment. So he doesn't, he belongs to that. He is at home with that very formal, very rules and systems sort of based situation or environment. That's the feel I get when I look at him. And then he is also a guide to the inner and outer wisdom, right? So when if you do, but the thing is, he will judge you worthy and then he will guide you accordingly. That's the feeling I again got when I looked at him, right? And on a very macro sort of level, this card also talks about society and its rules, okay? But the moment you take this card, turn it around and make it reverse, what do you see? His guidance turns into something which I don't know if this is a word, I've written misguidance. So he's gonna, whatever he will guide you with, especially in the reverse, and if that's the feeling you're getting, that this person is guiding you, it will be wrong, it will be misguidance. I don't know if that's a word, okay? Then it also talks about a very informal sort of learning environment. I mean, there is a certain system, a certain rule to it, but it's not so formal. It's not very rigid. That's the feel, right? And the third key phrase sort of that I got was breaking away from or different from the rules and systems of society. So that is what the Hierophant reverse sort of said to me, or the keywords that I got when I looked at this card. Okay. So then I was like, okay, I have to write the story. And as soon as I sort of put myself in this guy's position, these were the words that came out. They say the old ways don't work anymore. I say otherwise. Those are your foundations. That is where we all began. How can those be wrong? A lot of thought and knowledge has gone into building these roots. They won't be toppled or replaced so easily. So, when I was writing the story, the whole feel that I got was this is a guy who's sort of sitting there and defending the very formal environment and structure of everything that surrounds him, really. And that's what he said, that these are your foundations, this is where everything sort of started for everybody, we all started here, and now you say that it doesn't work and this, that, and the other, and it's not that easy, it's not that simple, you can't just replace it. So that's the feel that I got from my story anyway. So what is your story? What are your keywords? What are your thoughts about the Hierophant? Go right ahead, take a picture of your journal entry, all right, and share it on Twitter, share it on Facebook, share it on Instagram, and use the hashtag learn this deck, and of course the Hierophant, Dreaming Way Tarot, and Tarotically Speaking, so we can find each other, so I can look for you, you can look for me, and we can totally connect with each other, and we can totally learn this deck. All right, so tomorrow I will be back with the next card. Meanwhile, you guys stay cool and be good. Bye now.